Alright, this week's game history title is Ultima 1 from 1981. It's about 4 years newer than Zork. The version of Zork that we played was released in 81, but the original Zork game was developed in 77. So Ultima is about, what is that, 4 years newer. And, and it really, Ultima is the game that set forward in motion the development of the computer RPG as we know it today, with character development and inventory, and it even had some sections of it where you played in first person. So it really was a genre defining game. It set the standards by which a lot of future games were created, where you're allowed to make your own character and you have inventory and you can buy and sell at shops and all things that are super common in RPGs that we play today. So to get this thing running, last week we downloaded this game history folder right here, this guy, and inside that was DOSBox, right? So this is what we downloaded last week. And if you don't have it or you deleted it, go to last Friday's assignment, re-download the game history file. So the game history file is this. When you unzip it, you get this. Inside this folder, you're going to see DOSBox and Zork 1, Zork 2, Zork 3. You won't have Ultima inside of it because I've already downloaded it and you haven't. Alright, so we're going to open up DOSBox. We're going to put that to the side. Now, you should have downloaded the Ultima file from today's lesson. It has a little zipper on it, which tells me that this is a compressed folder. So I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to go to Extract All. You're going to get this box right here. This is all fine. Extract. And we get this. Okay. So here's my Ultima file. Here's my DOSBox file. So inside the Ultima file, you're going to see this right here, the Ultima application. It might say ultima.exe, it might not. There's a file setting up here that shows your file extensions, the .bin or whatever. I have it turned on. You may have it turned off. But you're looking for this file right here. It's called Ultima, and it'll say application. Right? We're going to grab that file. We're going to drag it, and we're going to drop it onto the DOSBox icon, this orange DOSBox icon. Don't drop it into this folder. It won't run from there. You also can't just double click this. This won't run. By dropping it on this, we're running it with this right here. So that's the purpose of dropping it on here. You can do it with any application. You probably didn't know that. Or some of you may not have known that. But so I'm going to take my Ultima application, I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to drop it right here. And see how it says open with DOSBox? It doesn't say move or copy or anything like that. It says open with DOSBox. I'm going to drop it there. DOSBox is going to open. And let me drag it over so you can see it. So you're going to get a couple windows. It's going to look like this. So this ran on your computers of the day, Commodore 64, probably being one of the most common. This is the graphics for the game. If you press Alt Enter, it'll go full screen. So if you hold down your Alt button, the ALT button, and you tap on the Enter button, the game will go full screen. I'm not going to do it because my OBS loses focus when I do that, and it goes to the wrong window. So I'm not going to do that. But if you do that, it gives you full screen. So now once we're in here, I'm just going to press Enter. And this is a keyboard-driven game, so that means that we're going to be using the keyboard. I don't think it has any mouse support. But that's what this was back then. We didn't have a mouse for the longest time back in the 80s. So I'm going to press A to generate a new character, and then it's going to tell you if you want to create a new character. So I'm going to press number 1 to get rid of that guy. And then I've got some numbers here. I have to redistribute my my points, basically. Like when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you roll, or in a lot of games you get to distribute attribute points. Well, Ultima pretty much started this. So you've got 30 points and you get to distribute them between these very common attributes, which back then this was incredible. Now it's very common. Like strength and charisma, wisdom, intelligence, these are all super common things that we play with in games now. But this was all kind of ripped from Dungeons and Dragons and brought into computers. And so Ultima having a character creation system was pretty groundbreaking. And so this was pretty fantastic for the time that we were able to actually customize our own character and add our own attribute points where we want them. So you follow along, read through the instructions, and you can add points where you want them, make your character however you want your character to be. I've included the owner's manual, the keyboard shortcuts, the maps as PDFs inside the folder. So if you look inside your Ultima folder, you should be able to find the original owner's manual. You're going to need to know the keyboard shortcuts because the game is all keyboard driven, and movement and all that stuff is done through the keys. Casting spells, you have to equip your weapons, all that stuff has to be done, just like a modern RPG. So I've included the manual and the keyboard shortcuts, so I would definitely take a look at those, possibly have them open while you're playing to help you along. And as we would have had an actual paper copy back in the 80s, you're going to have the digital PDF version. All right, so that is Ultima 1, which spawned, gosh, I think like 8 sequels, and there's online MMOs based on it. It's we actually have it here in the class. We have our own server. If we ever get back in the classroom, we'll get a chance to play it. So Ultima 1, all I need from you today, screenshot of you playing Ultima 1 with your progress, because it does keep score, or work on your map, or any makeup work you have for me. Any of those will be acceptable for today.